Hi everybody. Before Ralph and I are going to introduce ourselves, let me tell you what to expect from the next 20 minutes. We will share our insights into a transformation journey that started 1.5 years ago at Deutsche Telekom, as you can see on our shoes. So our story might be a little bit different to most of the stories you heard so far due to two reasons. First, our journey is not over yet. We are in between the transformation process, but for sure we can already share insights. And the second point is that we are not talking about a digital native or spin-off. We're talking about a large German bureaucracy and legacy-driven stock-listed company that strives to turn engineers into entrepreneurs. My name is Christine. I'm a Scaled Agile coach and managing director at Accenture. I engaged in agile ways of working 6 years ago when our digital transformation project terribly failed, and I was responsible for it. Since that time, I was very happy to work and coach several transformation projects across industries, but I really must say I love this project with Deutsche Telekom because of the great collaboration with the leadership team and the dedication and passion that they put into this transformation process. And nobody else than Ralph would have put me into a tiger costume during a carnival time in Cologne to make him participate in our Clarity on Purpose workshops.
Yeah, that was really fun. My first managing director in a tiger costume. Hi, I'm Ralph. I've been working with the Deutsche Telekom for the last 15 years, spent most of the time in management positions until 2017 when I got the opportunity to leave all the traditional line management behind me and commit myself completely to the ramp up of the very first digital factory at the Telekom Deutschland. And this, what we do here, is a bit telling the story of the last 1.5 years. But before we start with the story, let's have a look at the starting point. I'm part of the B2B division at the Deutsche Telekom. So B2B division is a 6 billion revenue business. It's a continued growth story, and when you look at the German market segment, we're clearly positioned as number one. So just from an outside-in perspective, we have a rather strong position. But when you look at the core market, our core market is shrinking. So essentially the only chance to have a growth story is in the IT and cloud business. But unfortunately, that business is dominated by players with much faster product cycles than we were used to. We had to prove, wrong direction, okay? So we had to prove that we can deliver much faster and generate value at the same time. So that was our mission when we embarked on that journey. To give you an idea about how big this challenge was, a couple of examples for that. Starting with our company silos. The business department and the IT division are completely separated divisions in the group. So collaboration was really almost limited to a very, very few people. That's not a good starting point. When we do have a brilliant engineering-based German execution-driven culture. That's by itself, it's a great asset. But it's probably not the first thing you're looking for when you kick off an agile transformation. And we do have slow IT deployment cycles. And to be even more honest, you had to say at least up to 1.5 years in advance exactly what you would like to get deployed at that date. That's what made things really difficult to get faster. So to sum that up, the starting point, we did have some really great strengths, but we also had great challenges externally as well as internally.
For me, the journey started end of 2017 when we have been approached by Deutsche Telekom, and they told us they want to completely change their way of working to achieve the ambitious growth targets that Ralph just talked about. And to give them a better understanding what this transformation would feel like for them and their teams, we executed a one-day workshop where we simulated the new ways of working along the end-to-end innovation process. And based on the insights of these workshops, we defined 3 success factors. First, that we need a mixed top management team of business and IT people, which take the ownership for this transformation, and also actively engage into this journey. That means participating in learnings and coaching, really changing the own behaviors first to really serve as a role model. Then we really wanted to foster an entrepreneurial mindset, and we wanted to do this by specific measures. For example, introducing at the beginning hyper sprints of 2.5 days to really force people to cut things small, to do rapid prototyping instead of thinking about things. And last but not least, we really need to show that we are able to hack the legacy system to really make people trust that this is an ambitious but achievable goal we are striving for.
So, starting with the first, lead the transition. How is that actually done? We brought a couple of examples with like how we try to do that. Starting with participation instead of control. I mean, first thing we asked ourselves was like, how do we really involve the management into the whole transition? So traditionally, you would have put together project charts and milestones, and then show all that things, and eventually got the budget for your transition. But that might work, but doesn't buy you any real involvement into your transition. So we tried something different. In fact, we printed our own money, small piles of banknotes. That works pretty well with management. And then we took these banknotes, that has been our budget, and spread that budget evenly among the management. And asked the board, to put their money onto the topics they personally see the most business value in. We were a bit concerned first, because we were really concerned that each one would put their money only on their topics. But the opposite happened. We kicked off a broad discussion in the end, areas where the teams believed that would be really important to the management get almost no funding, while other topics that we didn't see even in our focus got a broad support. So in the end of that process, we had a common and shared understanding of our goals. And in fact, this approach with the printed money proved to be so successfully that we repeat that once a year in total, and every 3 months to see if there have been any changes on the way inside or anything. So, so we have the money, so we got the budget, but we didn't prepare any detailed business plan, which got kind of a problem for the finance guys, as you can imagine from the Beyond budget yesterday. But that was really important for us, because we needed to get out this energy-absorbing and frustrating Excel spreadsheet discussions. Spreadsheets themselves never generate any business value. So we went to the finance guys and promised them one thing. We said, at least every 3 months, we present you real working software, so you can instantly check if we do generate business value. And we are doing that for the last 18 months. And so far, no one ever has asked us again for a business plan, while everyone feels that we are fully transparent.
Another big challenge was to make the leadership team understand which IT capabilities in the new have to be built. So we were very happy as the CIO agreed that he and his directs will participate in a hands-on training. And what we did is we executed 4 sessions, 2 hours each, where they step by step coded their own microservice using decoupling, using an automated tool chain. And this process really made them understood what kind of change process their developers would have to need go through. And it was a big success for us because the chief architect, for example, understood that he really needs to help us and take the lead to resolve interdependencies by helping us to modularize the IT landscape. And the CIO committed himself that he will sponsor an IT skill training in the new for his developers. So, next topic, shifting the mindsets. Why did we strive to turn people towards an entrepreneurial mindset? An entrepreneurial mindset helps you to adapt to an unknown and changing environment. And to make people understand that they could do so, we need to prove them that they had something to say in this transformation process. And the big room plannings were the perfect thing to do so. So, here the teams could see that they are in charge of the transformation, but they can also say how fast it should go. And Ralf, I can really well remember your closing words after our first program increment planning. As you said, I have been involved in so many transformations already at Deutsche Telekom, and I really asked myself what should be different this time. And after these 2 days of joint planning, and especially the confidence vote, I really have the feeling that something is different this time. This really feels like a transformation driven by employees for employees.
Yeah, these big room events are really great starting point. But when I look back on the first 6 months of our agile transition, that was clearly focused on output. You know, we had to introduce new roles, new rituals, even new IT tools. I mean, it's nothing wrong with that. I mean, the first PI planning, as you've just seen, was a big success, not because only we had that commitment, but also it gave us feedback that we are on the right track. The first system demo that we had was real working software, great moment for everyone. You know, you could see things were actually happening. But the problem is that neither roles, nor rituals, nor tools alone did really lead you to any kind of business agility. I didn't need you to tell that, but it's obvious. So we needed to change something. You know, agile developed software doesn't generate business value. The customer who actually uses the functionality generates a business value. So what would we do? So we introduced, in order to focus more consistently on outcome instead of output, we introduced objective and key results, OKRs, for all teams. And we did that not in contrast, but in addition to the existing agile metrics. And that really helped us to stay focused on the outcome and took us at least a little step further towards real entrepreneurship. Obviously, we've also significantly strengthened our co-creation with our customers. I still remember first time when I visited with our UX team a large bakery chain to gather some feedback on our self-services. I was really concerned that I had to face a tough interview. But in fact, I was greeted by the customer with open arms and the words, "Wow, this is the first time ever I've been asked for my feedback. I think that's a wonderful opportunity." That was the beginning of a quite sustainable partnership with them.
Yeah, and we also had an internal customer, the Salesforce. And this is the perfect target group to try on co-creation. So to show the teams how to do design sprint from innovation to tested prototyping in only 5 days with interdisciplinary teams of business, IT, and the user, we invited them to our service design studios in Berlin. And at the beginning, the selected teams didn't want to come at all. They had to interrupt their work. They had to leave their families for 1 week. And so they really didn't buy into it. But at the end of the sprint, they were really excited about the new way of working and how it felt. And we were very honored as they took the flamingo, the icon of our design studios, and made it their team symbol. So the last topic. To prove that this transformation would work, we really needed to outperform the legacy system and accelerate. And one very important step to do so is that we needed to show the teams that they can accelerate in spite of the existing legacy system. And our first MVP got a duration of 30 days. And the team estimated that they would need alone 18 days, so more than half of the time for the data model. In the end, with the help of our experts, we did it in half a day. And you cannot imagine what this did with the mindsets of the people. So this was really the first tipping point in our transformation journey. Then from this day on, the people really thought about how can we outperform the system and how can we accelerate.
And that tipping point came right to the perfect time because we needed to replace the existing CRM system. And honestly, any large-scale CRM rollout I've seen was a nightmare. You know, project style, big bang rollout always fails. So we knew we had to do that in a different style if we would like to succeed. Less than a project, more like a product. Meaning like starting small, you know, gathering data, checking your assumptions, getting feedback from your users, learning fast, and then scaling after all that. And we did that. In fact, we introduced a new CRM system to our small and medium business segment that way, as described. And already, indeed, after 5 months, we had the first trial up and running. And after 10 months, we had the nationwide rollout. Hacking the waterfall also means that you have to take teams that have been working in the waterfall successfully transfer them to an agile way of working. And we had a chance because we had just introduced a complete new e-commerce system for the last 3 years in a waterfall style. And they've just deployed that huge, immense e-commerce system. And then we tried to move them into agile, which was not easy because we had to scale down a huge project team to a size of a Scrum team, and we had to introduce new roles and new procedures. But after 6 months, they had their first agile deployment, what you see behind me. They were able to cut down their time to market to a few weeks, and we're really proud of doing that. So, in summary, our achievements. So what have we taken from the last 1.5 years of our transformation? 3 things, basically. As shown, obviously, we managed to cut down time to market significantly, not always down to a couple of weeks. Yeah? Frankly said, there are some products that still take about a year until we get them on the street. But on average, we are down to, say, half a year. And as we've already heard, transforming is an expensive thing. So we are really proud that we managed to earn our money back. We do deliver value. We are cash flow positive after 1.5 years. Every euro we invest in the transformation now, we earn back with the business. So I've seen a lot of large-scale transformation project at the Deutsche Telekom. This one is the first that earned back its money really after 1.5 years. Yes, I mean, we are just a small factory, about 250 people. And in a scale of a Telekom Deutschland with 70,000 people, it's almost nothing. but we were the first, and we did things right. So we happened to become the role model for the agile transformation of the whole Telekom Germany, which feels still strange, but it's a good feeling because then we can give all our experience to all the other tribes rolling out. So having said this, the really most outcome that we have was not one of these three, but that one. I've seen a lot of different transformation frameworks in the last decades. Agile is the first one that not just focus on getting faster and more efficient. Agile is also a promise to change the view on people. Also a promise for a more humane way of working, which I believe is a huge promise and really difficult to deliver on. And therefore, employee satisfaction is for us the most driving indicator that we are doing the right things.
So what have we learned after 1.5 years? So we are definitely not ready to publish a book because our transformation journey is far from over, and we still have to crack the hardest bone, which is the cultural change. And to give you examples, so in our last factory retro, somebody asked us, when does this transformation end? And it was an eye-opening and shocking moment, as we said, never. Because Agile is a learning journey, a continuous learning journey, and you need to become comfortable with being uncomfortable. Another really big challenge is that teams don't feel very comfortable with being transparent and being measured. So on the one hand, they still are afraid that metrics are misused for performance rankings. On the other hand, we still have to work on the understanding that Agile strives for continuous improvement and that we need something to understand where we're currently standing and how we can improve. And last but not least, we are still working on the balance between autonomy and alignment. So on the one hand, it took us a lot of work to make teams understand that they are self-empowered, that they can take meaningful decisions. On the other hand, you heard that we are growing fast, and we need a certain alignment and guidance as we are working on a joint output. And with this increasing alignment need, we are facing the risk that the teams feel that autonomy is pulled back from them. So you can see our learning journey will continue. We are definitely not there yet, never will be. But we could definitely prove already that this transformation is the right approach to achieve business agility for Deutsche Telekom and to make them turn towards an entrepreneurial mindset.
Well, we are definitely a bit proud of what we reached so far. We spent the last 18 months continuously visiting other companies and benefiting from their experience in agile transformation. And this helped us a lot to get where we are. And I would therefore like to invite you all, if you have gained valuable experience that helps others, let us share it. And if we have gained experience in our agile transformation that you might think feels valuable for you, we are more than happy to share that with you. And just in kind, you're still waiting to embark on that transition. Hopefully, Christine and I could convince you that it's definitely worth the energy. Thanks for listening.